You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Thursday, where we hit a new digit in the magic numbers. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. You know, I could go really small with the numbers 3, 7, and 8. 3 weeks until the Hall of Fame game, 7 weeks until that first big Thursday leading into Labor Day weekend of the college football season, and 8 weeks tonight. The Eagles host the Cowboys. But that means for some of you, the magic number is 21. For Miller and Moulton, the magic numbers are 49 and 56.
Because the only thing that happens between 21 days from now and 42 days from now are injuries. That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
So,
and we used to get excited about the Hall of Fame game. Not that we ever watched it. Miller and Moulton don't do preseason. But we used to get excited when preseason and training camps opened because it's true that there's a little more content from the standpoint of the show, but it's not positive content. The only thing we get out of camp and preseason, unfortunately, are the injuries. And we learned a long time ago that August is not the start of football season, even though so many of you get excited about the idea of preseason games. And good for you. I'm glad that you do. Whatever gets you excited about a game, that's a good thing.
In fact, we could ask a poll question: what's more meaningless, August football, March baseball?
We could, or the answer would be both.
I don't know if, can we get football fan to acknowledge, okay, that any part of the football season is meaningless?
I think there are a large number of fans that have lost any luster for preseason. I mean, when the commissioner of the sport has spent the better part of the last decade trying to get rid of preseason,
right,
I think the fan, and particularly, David, the fan who goes to games, you know, the one that pays for season tickets,
right,
and has to pay for those games, they have probably had it as well.
Well, we'll be down to 2 preseason games here. I predict in about 3 years, even though the league legally cannot opt out of the CBA and their deal with the networks until, I believe, 2029. Mark, there's a rumor. There's a whisper that the NFL is basically going to say to the networks, yeah, I know we're not supposed to wait until 4 more years, but we need to tear this sucker up now because we're bringing in an 18th game. And then they're going to go to the union and they're going to go, I know we can't tear this thing up, but we need to do an 18th game and we need to do it now. And that's sometime in the next 12, 18 months that they could tear it all up. I don't know if they'll get it done in time for the 2027 season, but I'll be surprised, Mark, if we're not playing 18 games by 2028.
And to your point of ripping up the television contracts, and more importantly, their deal, their CBA with the NFLPA, I would think they would have a good partner right now in the NFLPA if they say, we need to rip up this deal and start over. And here's why. Did you see what the NBA received in television revenue? And here are the number of people who watch our sport Here are the number of people who watch their sport. The money we're leaving on the table is absurd.
And so, yes, you're going to have to play an extra game that you want absolutely no part in playing. We get that. Can we just show you, if we don't get a single other concession from them in negotiations, just by opening up the TV deal? And my goodness, Mark, if ABC is paying $2.7 billion now for everything that they get with the NFL, which I think is 20 to 22 games, because we got 18 weeks of Monday night, but there's like 3 or 4 double headers. So I think they get 2 playoff games. So it may be like 24 NFL games, plus they have permission to use NFL highlights in all their talking head shows. They have to pay for that. That costs them a few $100 million to be able to use that stuff and get up and all that. So they're getting 2.7 billion. Yeah, that was before that. They're giving pretty much the same amount of money now to the NBA for the next 11 years to televise that league. So what do you think they're going to have to pay the NFL?
David, there's a movie that you and I are huge fans of called Charlie Wilson's War.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going Rounders. So, okay.
No. I'm going to one that we really love, that not everybody else, Rounders, everybody pretty much knows. Charlie Wilson's War is slightly more obscure.
Mm-hmm.
And early in the movie, Charlie Wilson doubles the funds for the fight against the Russians for the Afghan rebels.
Right.
And he doubles he just double it. And he just calls up and he says, double it. I mean, that's kind of the negotiation tactics that I think ESPN's going to start with, or the NFL is going to start with ESPN. Now, I don't think they'll get double it, but they're going to get 1.5 minimum of what
that's what I'm thinking they're going to get. Like, I think the 2.7 is going to become 4. And I think that Fox and CBS, who were paying 2, 2.1, 2.2, will make that a 3. Okay,
and then Netflix, and then Amazon Prime,
and they're going to have to pay.
And then when you add an 18th game, there's a really good chance that international window will open even more for a 9 a.m. slot, which means yet another new partner in the NFL's media deals.
And this is when Roger Goodell is going to take the NFL to a $30 billion annual league.
And that's why the players who do not want to play an 18th game aren't even going to reluctantly sign yes. They're going to quickly sign because they're going to see what the numbers are in revenue and how it directly relates to their salary cap and how much larger that will get in a hurry. I've got to believe, David, that this is the dog days of summer for the football player. This is the part that Pat Kerwin says all the GMs worry about because the players are not around the camps. And the only thing that can happen is they can get in trouble. And while I believe the overwhelming majority of the NFL players aren't going to come anywhere close to getting in trouble, I actually think a lot of those players pay attention. And when you see SGA sign for what he just signed for, when you see Booker just get the extension he received in Phoenix, that NFL players are looking around going, are you serious right now? They're making $70 million a year in that league?
Fully guaranteed. Fully guaranteed. Yes, sir. Yes, they will be here very soon. Mm-hmm.
So, yes, as we get closer towards training camps, there'll be an NFL story here and an NFL story there, but we want you to keep paying attention to the bigger picture. And that's the NFL going to 18 games, adding another television partner, and trying to get as much revenue out of those TV partners as is humanly possible.
And if one of the networks tries to balk and go, well, no, we're tied into this CBA and this deal, and you can't opt out early, the NFL is just going to kind of look at them and go, do you really want to hunk us off? Because you know we can cut you out, right? We can get another network look just like you. They'll pony up the same money as you.
So that's a bigger picture story going on for us right now in the NFL.
Coffin
Dave, I
Boss.
want to let you know that I did it again last night.
Did what?
Last night, had dinner. The daughter had her gymnastics, and then the wife and I had dinner, just the two of us. And I set my phone down on the table. I opened my Sirius XM radio app.
You did not.
And we listened to Tigers Rays while we had dinner.
Out in public, you listened to a baseball game?
At our house. Are you kidding me? I would never do that in public.
Well, I just remember Wednesday's the big gymnastics night. You two had gotten in a little habit. You went across the street and you found a little place and you would, have your little meal. And so I didn't know that you went back home. So that's all.
No. Just post vacation, David. There's no money left. There's no time to go out to dinner. It's ramen. It's ramen by the table. It's all over, David. Until we get 3 or 4 more sponsors, it's ramen on Wednesday.
I think we can all relate to, oh, no, we're back from vacation. We have no money. That's right. Got it. Okay. Ramen Wednesdays. That's cute. We can do that.
Appreciate it. But yes, I now have the wife sitting at the table listening to Tigers games on radio, or they're at least some facsimile form of it.
Well, the recent birthday that she had, that wasn't the big one, was it?
No, it was the one after. It was the one. Last year was the big one. This was the 5-1.
Well, okay. Well, the first digit is, the first digit. Have you looked at her and said, honey, you are approaching the baseball demo?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. We are both knee deep in the baseball demo. Rays get off the schneid, not getting swept by the Tigers last night. Big week for them. We'll talk about that and everything else that happened 25 minutes from now on the Starting Five. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, I've got a poll question idea.
Okay.
What first-year head coach will have the most success? Ben Johnson, Liam Cohn. There's 5, so we have to leave one off. I would leave Kellen Moore off and go Aaron Glenn and Brian Schottenheimer.
Okay. Now, do you think people know what teams they're on?
No, we'll have to put the teams next to them.
Okay.
It is National Kitten Day.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Buxton get hurt? Oh, no. No, because we thought he'd get hurt in the home run derby.
Should we put which head coach will win the most game? First-year head coach will win the most games instead of be the most successful? Okay.
Well, they don't think his hand's broken, Robes. So, hopefully sore for a couple days. Oh, damn. Ooh.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. There was a little meat on the bone yesterday. There was. We'll get to it. 7 and 8 weeks away from the start of football season, 49 days until the Thursday before Labor Day and the 16 college football games that get the season going. Boise State and South Florida, UCF's first game under Scott Frost again. And 8 weeks tonight, the Eagles host the Cowboys. Just saying. So 49 and 56 are your football magic numbers. Hall of Fame game 3 weeks from tonight, if that's all you need to see. You just need to see helmets and shoulder pads, and it doesn't matter if there are a bunch of plumbers and construction workers that are playing in that game, because ultimately that's what they're going to be. That's fine. We understand. We don't agree, but we understand.
Although the odds of me putting the Hall of Fame game on at least one of the two TVs that are on my wall in the living room are more than likely high, 70 plus percentile that I'll throw it on for a little while. Don't know how much attention I'll pay to it, but I'll put it on.
So it's meaningless, but is what you're saying.
Yeah. The first one, and just throw it on just to look at some guys running around in helmets and shoulder pads.
Do you even know who's playing in the Hall of Fame game?
No, I think Detroit is.
They are. The
Chargers?
Lions. Yes, look at you. Well done. I don't know where you pulled that out of. Wasn't in that Phil Steele book you were reading over the vacation.
It was not.
So that's very impressive. This Ramen Noodle Wednesday is really stimulating the brain. This is good.
Thank you. Yes.
Chargers and Lions, and that's the Hall of Fame game 3 weeks from tonight.
So yesterday, David, we are getting a new cable system in our neighborhood.
Okay.
And I had mine installed yesterday.
All right.
And there were lots of people there doing a whole big deal. And the one young man, probably mid-20s at one point, just looked at me and he said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure." Said, "Why do you have 3 TVs in your living room?"
Sit down, sir. Take a load off.
He was a little confused by that.
Let me explain, you young whippersnapper. Okay? Life is an oyster, and you think at all these possibilities and what have you. Let me tell you how it's going to play out, sir. You're going to settle down. You're going to get married. You're going to have a child. You're going to get a house. And do you know what 80+% of your entertainment is going to be for the rest of your life? Yes, something that when we grew up, they called the boob tube. Yes. Television. Life is a television show, sir. And if you don't believe so, let me tell you about the National Football League.
That's it. It's what it's all about.
That's it. It's about being on television and making a ton of money by doing so.
Speaking of the National Football League, we already have a poll question up this morning. And it is about the National Football League because why the hell not? It's July.
All right, go for it.
Which first-year head coach will win the most games in 2025? The Jets' Aaron Glenn, the Bears' Ben Johnson, the Cowboys' Brian Schottenheimer, or the Jags' Liam Cohn? I left off Kellen Moore and the Saints because I didn't think it was fair to the Saints to even put them on the list.
Now, there are new coaches with the Raiders and the Patriots, but they're not first-year head coaches, obviously, because Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel, they've done this before. So that's why the question is worded the way it's worded, and it's why those on the list are, in fact, on the list. So there you go.
So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton Miller, _Moulton on X to vote. We'll see what you think of who can be the most successful out of these first-year coaches. I didn't go the other way. Which one will be the least successful? Maybe tomorrow.
Curious, who would you have left off that list since you only have room for 4? Would you have left Schottenheimer or would you have left? Okay.
I would have probably left Schottenheimer off.
Interesting. Okay.
And I might just keep the 4 same so Kellen Moore doesn't run away with it in New Orleans, if you know what I mean.
Right, which is
fair. I think you just throw New Orleans out of this list because they're set up to fail this year.
They are.
Much the way their running back Alvin Kamara failed with his pitch a couple of days ago so badly that he asked for the ball back and threw a second ceremonial first pitch. That one much better.
I'm impressed and surprised that they gave him the mulligan.
Well, it was the mascot catching, right?
I know. I'd never seen a mulligan on a ceremonial first pitch before.
He started flapping that glove the minute the ball went in the dirt. Like, give me that thing back. I screwed up here. I want another crack at this.
And it's tough to do it without visualizing it, but we'll paint the picture. It's something to remember. If you are ever in a position to throw out a ceremonial first baseball pitch, all right, the further you climb up the mound is the further you're then going to come down, okay, and your arm and shoulder are going to drop down, and that is why so many ceremonial first pitches end up not reaching home plate. And so you don't aim necessarily for the glove, which oftentimes the catcher has got the glove at thigh high. Aim for the catcher's head. All right? Aim for and you got to trust me on this. Done it 3 times. Have never, ever hit dirt or the backstop. That's not bad for ceremony, and I mean cold as ice too. No warm up. 2 of the 3 times with the TV outfit on. Okay, there was a high chance of screwing this sucker up. Shirt and tie, and I made sure I took the jacket off. That's about it. So just aim above the glove. And realize the further you go up the mound, the more likely you are to throw it in the dirt. I feel like this is an old golf and bowling broadcast when they used to do those golf tips. Okay? I feel like I was just Nelson Burton Jr. Okay? Chris Schenkel threw it to me, and it was the bowling tip of the week.
I love the fact that with great detail, you broke down how to throw a ceremonial first pitch, when in our audience, I don't think there is but one person that's probably ever thrown one out other than you. And there won't be many others. Like, I've never done it and probably never will.
But think about it. We've got a lot of business owners who listen to us. They could be sponsors and they'll get thanked. They'll be honored at the ballpark for a night. And next thing you know, the business owner who's listening to us, I was thinking of TJ and Floormeisters. Don't know if he's ever thrown out a ceremonial first pitch. Okay. I'll bet you he's been extended an offer to drop the ceremonial puck or throw out the, ceremonial first pitch. That's all. I was just thinking of Tim.
Well, hey, you broke it down with great detail. It was excellent advice for whomever may do that one day. And if I ever do, I'll remember what Moulton said. Aim high.
And by the way, don't throw your best fastball. Throw a batting practice fastball. This way, the catcher will be able to keep it from going to the backstop if you're a little high.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I went with Schottenheimer as well. I think they have the best team of the four. I do. I think the Bears are interesting. I think the Jags are interesting. I don't have a lot of faith in the Jets right now, but what do I know? Big day for you today, David.
Okay.
Snack wrap returns to McDonald's.
That's right.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Poll questions already up. Which first-time head coach is going to win the most games this year in the NFL? And while there's 5 first-time head coaches, we spared Kellen Moore because we think the Saints are on the clock. We think they're tanking intentionally. Take a look at their quarterback room and convince us that they're not tanking. But then again, the Saints need to get that cap situation settled. So I would do whatever you have to do this year to get that cap manageable as soon as possible. But Brian Schottenheimer of the Cowboys, Liam Cohen of the Jags, Ben Johnson of the Bears, Aaron Glenn of the Jets. And there are some that think, that former Bears quarterback, Justin Fields, there are still people who think he can be a good, productive NFL quarterback. And they're like, he's going to get a shot. And they could surprise a few people because if he's as good as I think he is, and he's got 2 wide receivers and he's got 2 running backs and he can run.
And that's a pretty good defense. That's a coach that knows how to coach defense. That's a division that's vulnerable for everybody not named the Buffalo Bills.
Right. So we'll see if Aaron Glenn and the Jets get more votes than I think most of you think they will. Time now for
The Starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting 5.
Well, it's about time somebody cooled off the Detroit Tigers, albeit for a night. Tell you what, Mark, I had to laugh. I know you were listening and or watching with your wife. So Tampa Bay puts that 4 spot on the board in the 6th. They got a 7-3 lead. This baby's over. And sure enough, an inning later, what do the Tigers have? They got bases loaded, 2 outs, and tying run at the plate. And I'm like, well, it doesn't even matter who's at the plate. Have you seen who's been homering lately for the Tigers? The most unsuspecting guys in the lineup. So I was waiting to turn around 30 seconds later and see the score 7-7. Not to be. Rays beat the Tigers 7-3. Caminero hit his 22nd homer, and he had a really good day. We'll explain in a bit. The Blue Jays mailed one in on the south side of Chicago and got beat by the White Sox 2-1, snapping their 10-game winning streak. And Toronto's leading the East down to 2.5 because the Yankees got 2 homers from Jazz Chisholm, beat Seattle 9-6 despite the Mariners hitting 4 home runs, although none of them by Cal Raleigh. So Yankees win 9-6. They released DJ LeMahieu. They will eat $22 million over the next year and a half on DJ LeMahieu's contract. That's what happens when you give a 6-year deal to a guy who was turning 33 years old. The Red Sox are tied with the Mariners for the final playoff spot in the American League because Boston's won 6 in a row. And with Seattle losing, Boston beating Colorado 10-2, hitting 4 homers in the process, Red Sox and Mariners separated by 1 percentage point for the final playoff spot. Twins jumped out on the Cubs again. Early 3-0 lead. They held them off 4-2. Only bad news for Minnesota. Byron Buxton hitting the hand with a pitch. It's not broken. So we'll see when he returns to the lineup. This is Byron Buxton, after all. These injuries have a way of becoming a big deal. Twins have won 4 of 5. How about the Brewers sweeping the Dodgers? How about the Dodgers losing 6 in a row?
The last time the Dodgers have lost 6 in a row was 2019.
Milwaukee scored 1 in the 9th to tie it, 1 in the 10th to win it, 3-2. And they're just a game and a half back of the Cubs. Mark's pesky Brewers. I declared that division over a week and a half ago. Believe we made a bet on it.
We did.
Nats over the Cards, 8-2. Interim manager Miguel Cairo gets his first win with the Nats. He's been an interim manager before. The Marlins' 11-game road winning streak. That's remarkable. 11-game road winning streak came to an end. Reds beat them 7-2. Cincinnati back over 500. Phillies, big day from Bryce Harper. Good for him. He's banged up. Came back a little early on a bit of a schneid. Homer and 3 doubles. You got to feel badly for Justin Verlander. He didn't pitch badly. He gave up 2 earned runs in 6 innings. That's it. They made a key error behind him, which cost him 2 more runs. And then as soon as they turned it over to the bullpen, and that's been the case all year, the bullpen said, oh, wait, this is a Verlander game? Time for us to throw batting practice. 13-0 Phillies. When Verlander left the game, it was 4-0. Phillies half-game lead in the East because the Mets got rained out in Baltimore. They'll play a noon and 5 o'clock doubleheader. So you'll have a couple hours in between games to bet the second game and bet either for or against the sweep. Braves got 2 homers from Acuna. And how about this streak, Mark? The Braves had lost 13 in a row in California before beating the A's in Sacramento last night 9-2. So think about all the teams they could play: the Dodgers, the Giants, the Padres, the Angels. 13 in a row until winning last night. How about the Guardians going to Houston with a 10-game losing streak and sweeping the first-place Astros?
Bad for your trade deadline, David. Not what you wanted to see out of the team from Cleveland, giving themselves some hope with the 3 straight wins.
You mean the Twins winning 4 of 5 and the Royals winning 6 of 7 and now the Guardians with a sweep? Yeah, I've had a horrible week. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Guardians double up Houston 4-2. Jose Ramirez, Angel Martinez homered. Mention the Royals winning 6 of 7. Salvador Perez with 2 homers, including the game winner in the 8th. They swept the Pirates 4-3. The Angels, we had a Mike Trout signing. Trout hit 2 homers last night. Angels scored 3 in the 8th to beat Texas 11-8. And the Diamondbacks hit 4 homers. Perdomo hit a grand salami in the D-backs 8-2 win over the Padres. Zach McKinstry, if you don't know who he is, he plays for the Tigers. He was picked as an injury replacement in the All-Star game, giving Detroit 5 players in the All-Star game. Them and the Dodgers will each have 5. First time Detroit's had this many guys in an All-Star game since they had 6 back in 2013. And Junior Caminero, the Rays, replaces Alex Bregman in the All-Star game. And since he's going to be there, they said, you want to participate in the Home Run Derby? He said, hell yeah. So a good day for Caminero. Wimbledon. Men's quarters were yesterday. Sinner looked the best he's looked all tournament. Here's a guy who the last time we saw him was down 2 sets to the 34-year-old Dimitrov. Yeah, he comes out and he handles American Ben Shelton yesterday in straight sets, 7-6, 4-4. He'll face Djokovic in the semis. Novak lost the first set in a tiebreaker, but then got it together, beat the Italian in 4 sets. So on the men's side, Mark, you got the 1, the 2, the 5, and the 6 in the semis. 1 against 6, Sinner against Djokovic, and then 2 against 5, Alcaraz against American Taylor Fritz in the other semi. The women's semis are today. Top seed Sabalenka taking on the American Anisimov. Swiatek, the 8 seed, is facing unseeded Belinda Bencic, who a year ago gave birth to a child. And a year later, she's in the semis of Wimbledon. Well done, young lady. Well done. I think Swiatek, the 8 seed, is going to win the whole thing. It's been very impressive in this tournament. WNBA. Caitlin Clark returned after missing 5 games. She looked okay. Played 25 minutes. Had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 of 5 from deep. Fever, however, only shot 31% as a team, got out-rebounded by double digits. They lost at home to Golden State 80-61. To fall below 500, by the way. They're a borderline playoff team right now. Connecticut used a huge fourth quarter. They had only won 2 of 18 games, and Seattle's a good team. They outscored the Storm 27-9 in the fourth and won their 3rd game of the year, 93-83. Phoenix went on a 19-4 run to end the game and to beat the Minnesota Lynx, who were 17-2 until that run. 79-71. Lynx fall to 17-3. And Angel Reese continues to play well. 15 points, 11 rebounds. In a battle of bad teams, Paige Beckers had a tough shooting day. Chicago over Dallas, 87-76. Sticking with hoops for a moment longer. I'm dating myself here, but I love this guy. Frank Layden. Probably the fattest guy in sports in the last 40-plus years who was a coach. You know, now we're going younger. Everybody's working out. Not Frank Layden, man. Frank Layden was 340 pounds. Took over the Jazz shortly after they moved to Utah. They were bad. Drafted a couple of guys named Stockton and Malone, and they got good for the first time under Frank Layden. He was their coach throughout the 80s. Then he was general manager of the year. Frank Layden died yesterday at the age of 93. And Mark, you mentioned it earlier, and I don't know how many people are aware of what it was you mentioned. You mentioned Devin Booker getting paid. People are like, well, we know he had a good contract. What do you mean? Yeah, the Suns, because they traded Durant and they're about to buy out Bradley Beal. And so they said to Booker, hey, you ain't going anywhere. You're going to be a Sun for life. He had 3 years left on a contract. They added 2 years and $145 million to it. That's right, $72.5 million he'll make the last 2 years of this decade. He's going to make $316 million over the next 5 seasons. That's 63 and change. Yeah, when your kid is saying, hey, I want to go out and shoot buckets, encourage them to do so. And finally, Mark.
They're 6'5".
Well, it helps. It does.
6'7" would be better.
Mark, your Bucks suffered a setback yesterday.
Huge setback. I do not like this at all.
26-year-old stud left tackle Tristan Wirfs. He hurt his knee during the season last year. Gutted it out, only missed 1 game, made the Pro Bowl, played most of the second half of the year with a knee brace. He was trying to avoid surgery and apparently suffered multiple setbacks during this offseason and finally decided, I guess we're going to have to operate on the knee. And it's not just cleaning out some stuff, because they've already said Wirfs ain't going to be ready for the opener. And the opener's in 59 days. In fact, they said don't rule out the possibility he starts the year on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. That guarantees you miss the first 4 games of the season minimum. So pay attention to that. But Tristan Wirfs likely to miss some time at the beginning of the year for the Bucks.
And, yesterday when asking Pat Kerwin about the Bucks, he likes the Bucks. But one of the things he said is that their 5 on the offensive line, very good. Their depth, not so much.
And they just lost their best lineman, at least for a little while. And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories and the PUP list here on Miller and Moulton.
Poll question is up. Which first-year coach will win the most games in 2025? We left Kellen Moore off of the list to save he and the Saints from finishing dead last. It's Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, Brian Schottenheimer, and Lee and Combe. Miller_Moulton, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on X to vote. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Whew. Rough morning.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Poll questions already up. Rookie NFL head coaches, kind of the theme this morning. We went with 4 of them. Which of these 4 will win the most games this year? Ben Johnson and the Bears, Brian Schottenheimer and the Cowboys, Liam Cohen and the Jags, or Aaron Glenn and the Jets. Those are the 4. We took Kellen Moore and the Saints off the list because we believe they've got the worst quarterback room, one of the worst rosters, worst salary cap situation. We think they're tanking. We hope they threw an extra year on top of his contract because over under 3.5 on the Saints, by the way.
3.5?
3.5.
Great number. Great number. I would lean over.
Okay.
By a half.
I hear
I
you.
wouldn't want to make the bet. I wouldn't want to waste money with that's a tough bet right there.
I think they could be like 2-3 and go on one of those 9-game losing streaks. I mean, they're looking at Spencer Rattler as their quarterback, aren't they?
Yes.
Or the rookie they drafted out of Syracuse?
Did they get Syracuse kid or did they get the Louisville kid?
Oh, I don't know. Whichever one you say they took, I'll go with you on. So, but that's their quarterback room right now, with Carr being hurt and retiring. That's not a lot of wins. I'm just, this just in. That's not going to be a lot of wins. And that's if the team's decent. And the Saints aren't.
By the way, and it's a huge minus number. I mean, I don't understand why the Hard Rock app puts a number here and then charges you outrageous juice. But they have it at under 6.5. Now it's minus 230. So it's you're not favored in this bet. I think I'd still make it and not worry too much about giving up 2-1 odds.
Yeah, there's no way the Saints are going 7-10 this year. There's no way. Yeah, I'd make that bet and just figure eventually I'll get some money back on it. I was remiss. I was also running out of time, but we've got a lot of international golf going on this week. They're playing the Scottish Open right now. That sucker's underway. Sepp Straka tied for the lead on the course at 6 under. I love the fact that 53-year-old Padraig Harrington, who just won the U.S. Senior Open, is tied with Scotty Scheffler at 4 under. I love it. I love links golf. I love that the 53-year-old can be tied with the 28-year-old who's number 1 in the world. I absolutely love it. And LPGA playing a major, by the way. They're playing the Evian, and Irishman Leona Maguire right now with a 1-shot lead. That'd be a very popular win in Europe. So anyway, Mark, I know I don't think you've got the TV figured out in the studio yet, but there's Scottish Open on, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I have kind of made a commitment in my own head to this show that I'm not putting the television on.
Oh,
That I'm here for you and for our audience. And I don't think it's fair to be distracted with something that I could take full interest in, particularly next Thursday and Friday.
well, that's what I was then going to ask. Are you coming off taking the higher road this week, but you have no intention of keeping that as your mantra next week at this time?
No, I don't think I'll turn the TV on ever in this room.
Wow.
There's a lot going on. Believe it or not, there's a lot going on in here during the show that I really can't handle any distraction.
Okay. Hey, I get it. I wouldn't want your job because you're doing at least 2 of them. Okay, if not 3. So I hear you.
So the Big 12 media days continued yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and Dion spoke.
Ah, yes, he did. All right. Come on now. Come on. Miller and Moulton. Prime time. Prime time. We love Dion. We do. We're in the tank for Dion. We've criticized him, though, but we are in the tank for Dion.
I'm not as much as I used to be. He's said and done some things that have, I don't know about honked me off, but I don't have the same love that I once had for Dion, but I certainly have a strong like.
So you're not
And yesterday he said what all of us believe should happen, but he didn't go as far as Miller and Moulton have gone over the course of the last couple of years, when he said, no doubt about it, college football needs a salary cap.
Duh. Yeah, of course.
Now, he didn't go as far to say as they need to make them employees in order to do that, but he did say they needed a cap. And I loved when he was asked about the Texas Tech coach and spending all that money. So I love Joe. Joe, you got any of that money so I can get some players too? And that answer to me, not so much Dion saying there should be a cap, because if we put that up for a question today as a poll question, I would imagine it would be 95% to 5% would agree with him. I don't know anybody out there that likes the out of control spending in college athletics. You and I were for the players getting paid, and we knew it would be nuts for a few years. And now when you have coaches actively talking about a salary cap in their sport, in college football,
right?
Obviously they are of the same thought. And I go a little bit deeper. When he was asked the question about Texas Tech and their money and what they're spending, and he said, man, I wish they'd give me a little bit of that money so I could get some players too. He's telling everybody that Colorado doesn't have the money that Texas Tech has, and probably never will. Are the Colorado Buffaloes going to get any more money from boosters and in the NIL section, their collective, whatever it is, than they would right now with all of the energy and momentum that program has?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe he could have a season that's slightly better and they find a way to fork over a little more money, but no, man. He's getting them to spend money on him, his staff, facilities, players. No. Colorado had a UCLA type reputation as not being all in on football. And Dion's, got an AD who wants to give Dion everything he can, but he can't give him Texas Tech and BYU and a few other schools money. Can't do it. Can I bring up a subject that's going to maybe be a little uncomfortable?
That's what we do.
We've talked about, you and I think BYU is going to be really good. We think they're going to be, and not just this year, we think BYU is going to be one of the top programs in the Big 12, 5 years, 10 years, you name it. Okay, they've got a loyal fan base and they can get their hands on money. Not going to be a problem. And this is important to them. So we think BYU is going to be a consistent contender, threat in the Big 12. I don't know if everybody who's being recruited by BYU is fully aware, however, of the student code of conduct that they have to agree to that has been well publicized here in the last 3 weeks. I mean, BYU might have been the favorite to win the Big 12 this year. And it looks like they're going to lose their quarterback now because, well, he got accused of sexually assaulting a woman. That, however, has gone away. No charges are going to be filed. However, he did readily admit that, oh, yeah, we fooled around. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that unless you're married. And punishment could be being kicked out of the school or a 7-week suspension. So I'm serious. I don't know how that's going to help them recruiting going forward. You don't think that's not going to be used against them by everybody else in the Big 12? Recruiting the kids, well, don't go there. You're not allowed to have caffeine, and you certainly can't have SEX.
I had a few things I was going to say.
I know.
That I edited out myself to not make you uncomfortable this morning.
No, I brought it up. But that's what I thought when I saw this story. At first, the story was very serious. The kid's being accused of sexual assault. That went away quickly.
Right.
But he acknowledged. He goes, oh, no, we did the big dance. Yeah.
You got to keep it to mouth hugs. That's all it can be. I mean,
you can't do that out in Provo. Can't do it. Not unless you're married. 7-game suspension. By the way, they don't have a quarterback worth a damn on the roster except this kid either. I mean, this is going to hurt BYU. Don't kid yourself.
They were picked to win the conference,
right,
by a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm.
That goes away quickly when you lose your quarterback.
Yeah.
Because if you can play the position now, I mean, the backup depth at quarterback throughout college football isn't what it once was.
Well, no,
these guys are all getting paid to go start somewhere else.
Well, they're not willing to sit for a year. They all want to play right away, and that's why it's tough to keep a quality backup. Never mind, keep somebody who's got experience. He can use that experience to go play somewhere else.
You know, they used to look the other way at BYU for their quarterbacks.
Right.
Just ask Mr. McMahon.
Miller and Moulton. I just thought it was worth bringing up, being real, as Floormeisters likes to say, just keeping it real. With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dreamweaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, I've looked for a day and a half. Have you seen anything that could construct the coolest thing you've seen today? Because I got squadoosh.
Oh. The return of the snack wrap today?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Can I, and I'm not doing this to be a blankety blank. I'm really not. Can I challenge you on something that you said last segment?
Sure.
When Dion was talking about, hey, we need a salary cap. And you said, I'd ask that as a poll question, but the vote would be 95-5. Fans would say, yes, we need a salary cap. Would they? Hear me out. At first glance, I think a lot of fans would go, oh, we need a salary cap. Yeah, but at second glance, who are most of you rooting for? Most of you are not rooting for Middle Tennessee State. You're not rooting for teams in the Sun Belt and Conference USA. And for that matter, you're rooting probably an overwhelming majority of our audience is rooting for 20 college football programs. Mark, why would Ohio State, Michigan, we can go through it, we know who they are, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Notre Dame, Miami, we all know the list, Penn State, Texas. Figure out a good 20 to 2 dozen. It would take a subpoena, a court order. It might take an armed threat to get those schools to ever agree to a salary cap. They've always had more resources than everybody else, and they've always used them, legally or otherwise. I mean, this is college football. Let's be brutally honest. Cheating happens. Hell, in some places, it's downright encouraged. And it has been forever. Forever. The joke when Keith Jackson was holding out in the NFL. And one of his teammates said, well, he's just trying to make as much as he was at Oklahoma. Okay? I mean, I don't think the upper echelon of college football wants anything to do with what Dion or Miller or Moulton or others may propose. You really think, here's the other thing. Do you really think they'd abide by it? They didn't abide by it. Come on, come on. How much cheating do we think's been going on in college football for the last 60 years?
A ton, but I mean, I guess, David, and the reason I think that they would comply a little more than you do is that unless they were going to start making payments to parents, making cash payments, now that they're legally allowed to pay them, these kids have to file taxes. These are public records. They should be able to figure out exactly what the kid's making.
Yeah, that's if it's above board.
So you think now that we're paying kids, I mean, you have to admit, David, what we're paying them now is far more than what we were paying them before we were legally allowed to pay them.
Well, and Mark, this has gone much more quickly than even I thought it was. And you and I thought this was going to be a complete grease fire, a complete mess. And salaries have got, remember, Bud Elliott a year ago said that the kids are going to be making more than the coaches, and I mocked him. Okay. Well,
He was right.
in some cases they're getting right there. And we're 3 years into this odyssey.
Right. I mean, Underwood at Michigan's making close to what the coach is making. Now, I don't think that's the case at, all schools, but he's getting there.
Here's why. Like, I don't believe that the schools are going to abide by the rules now. First off, the NCAA is not even enforcing anything anymore. They're leaving it up to the conferences. I mean, how long do you want to play the laugh track? I mean, we got 5 minutes left in this segment. You can play it for at least those 5 minutes. We can go back after break and have the laugh track still playing. We're going to have enforcement of the rules left to the conferences. What's the incentive again for the Big Ten to penalize USC?
Well, the other side of it is we don't just have the conferences in control. We literally seemingly now have state after state after state that is trying to pass legislation that does not allow the clearinghouse to go after the player for their NIL deal.
Right.
New Jersey has just jumped on board as well.
Which is laughable.
Michigan's done it. Tennessee's done it. There are others that have done it.
Mark, in theory, we're supposed to have a pseudo salary cap now, right? You got $20.8 million to spend on all your schools. In theory, you're spending about $15 million on football. Everything else has to be an NIL that's approved by this Deloitte company. So it can't be a bogus NIL deal. It's got to be legit. It's got to be fair. Okay? Please. You think the schools will stop there? That's not enough money. Ohio State spent more than that on their football team last year. It's not enough money. They're cheating right now. And I'm not just saying Ohio State. I said they're all. There's a third source of income out there. And you know what it is? It's what it's always been. It's cash in a brown paper bag. Can't track it. Don't have to file taxes on it.
David, come on. So you think they're still making cash payments in the tune of millions of dollars to players and getting away with it in 2025? I don't. I think they're doing NIL deals. I certainly think guys are getting more than what the $20 million per school is. We all know that. But I don't think that Arch Manning's getting handed a bag with $500,000 in it.
Here's what I want to see. Deloitte starting to deny these NIL deals. Because they said last month that basically they weren't going to allow the
pay for play.
Yeah.
The collective to pay you because you're on campus. You have to do something for it.
Right. Now, you could make the case that Arch Manning's worth a lot, touting products in and around Austin. Okay. So maybe the Arch Manning NIL deal's legit. We got a lot of people to play on this football team. Never mind, we got a lot of teams. I mean, do you think some of these schools are going to allow their other sports to just go to blank? Because they're not going to invest in them? I mean, I think one of two things is going to happen, Mark. If Deloitte is serious, then there is going to be a third income source, which is a total sham. Or this NIL and Deloitte, they're all talk, no action, and it's going to be a total sham. Because 15 to 20 million is not going to be enough to compete for a national championship year in, year out.
It's not close. You're going to need nearly 3 times that. 45 million is a more reasonable number than 15 million going forward to put your football team together. Quickly, time now for the coolest thing I've seen today, brought to you by Air Advantage. Go to myairadvantage.com, myairadvantage.com. And I will say it is an NIL deal, and it goes back to BYU, and it's not their quarterback. I don't know if this basketball player is going to get any while he's at BYU, but he's certainly going to get paid. He signed a deal with Fanatics to the tune of, I believe, $8 million.
Is this AJ guy?
Yeah, the number one prospect signed a 7-figure deal with the first number, very crooked, by Fanatics. They say it's the largest NIL deal on record as of yet. AJ Dubnska, something like that. Anyhow, he's going to be a top pick in the NBA draft quickly when he leaves after getting paid by BYU. Go to myairadvantage.com. Miller and Moulton. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks lie peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, he was an enforcer. I didn't know. I the name I had, I didn't look up where he played, but I said yesterday he played in the league. Fly panda fly. That's a nice sentiment, but why do rich people often get all the free things they get? It's just the way the world works. They're going to get their scholarships. You're not going to make them pay to go to school. You're paying them to come to school. That's what you're doing now. Well, everything's solved now, gang. Mattel has introduced the first Barbie with type 1 diabetes. Unbelievable. Do you have the type 1 diabetes, Barbie, honey? Oh, we know, Michael. Trust me, we know.
You've been late about a lot of things, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, I
gotta admit.
it's my favorite thing about the Twitch chat room is when you guys come in here and think you're breaking news to the two of us.
And
I find it, if it's something that's happening now, a tennis match, the Scottish Open, something breaks immediately, that's great. But to think that something that happened yesterday or something that we've only talked about for a month, and you think you guys jump in at 7:37 and go, hey, guys, I got something for you. I find that hysterical. I love it.
I mean, this snack wrap thing is nearly bringing a tear to my eye. I'm so happy.
David, just to let you know how much my family doesn't do fast food, we packed food for our trip so we didn't have, we had sandwiches in the car so we could just keep right on going.
No, I understand. I do. You do know what I'd hit you with, though. I'd say, listen, for all the times you had to stop for your wife to use the woman's room, okay, versus how many times I have to stop to eat, okay? Because I usually eat right next to where I'm getting gas.
I got you.
All right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. JP Hornstruck covers Major League Baseball for a living. He'll join us 1 hour from now. Our poll question, which first-time NFL head coach will win the most games this year? The 4 choices we gave you, Ben Johnson of the Bears, Brian Schottenheimer of the Cowboys, Aaron Glenn of the Jets, Liam Cohn of the Jags. Who's winning? Schottenheimer?
Right now, Schottenheimer is winning by mere percentage points over Ben Johnson. Liam Cohn for the Jags is in third, about 10 percentage points behind Schottenheimer, and Aaron Glenn is bringing up the rear. It's not even close. Less than 10% of the vote going for the Jets, a little over 30% of the vote going for both the Bears and Cowboys, and around 24% for Liam Cohn. So a pretty strong vote, pretty good vote, pretty equal vote. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X to vote on today's poll question. If you're not an X subscriber and you want to contribute, you can always text us what your answer is at 21,000. If you've not texted the show before, text the keyword Miller to 21,000. We'd love to hear from you. David, I have a list.
Okay.
And the list has nothing to do with sports, but it is right up your alley. A group called World Atlas does an annual thing of which they name the most unhealthy fast food restaurants in America. And they have a top 10. And David, to the shock of many, 10th on the list is Chick-fil-A.
For unhealthy?
For unhealthy.
Huh.
One of the things that they look at as to whether or not a restaurant is unhealthy is basically routinely serve meals that can eclipse daily calorie limits in a single setting while encouraging visits through bargain pricing and around-the-clock service. World Atlas says about Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A masks calorie-dense fried chicken fare behind a wholesome image. An original chicken sandwich with medium waffle fries delivers 750 milligrams of sodium, 1/3 of the day's limit, 800 calories, and the lemonade and milkshakes push totals high. I was surprised to see Chick-fil-A on the list. And David, on the list, you are only a frequent guest from what it looks like to me, only 3 of the 10.
What?
I thought, yeah, Chick-fil-A is 10th on the list. Little Caesars, while I don't consider a pizza chain fast food, but the fact that what are they selling for? $6 now? What's a pizza cost there? You know, I know you know.
$6.99.
It used to be $5. Now it's $7 basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so since they have those $7 pizzas usually at your ready that you can just walk in and buy, and maybe that jumps into the list.
Hold on, that's unhealthy? I'm being serious here. Okay, you this is my wheelhouse. Okay, they consider walking in. Okay, just because, like Mark, you would argue it's not good tasting. Fine. Okay, and it's not. That's not their thing. Their thing is not this is the most amazing pizza. Their thing is it's cheap and it's right here. Here, you want it? Okay, and we got thousands of them. Okay, how hungry are you? You can come in here, buy 3-4 of them for $20. That's our thing. Pizza, pan. Okay, but where's that unhealthy? How unhealthy is a pizza?
Well, I think given the fact that, David, what they're saying is someone like you goes in and gets a pizza and eats the whole thing, and you are exceeding your what you should have in calories in a day in that one meal.
Okay, with all due respect, then every fast food place, seriously, this is why we go there. Okay, we're not eating healthy. Look at where we're going to get our food. We made a conscious choice to ignore whatever the criteria in the list that these people want to have to be healthy. No, that's not what we're into, at least not for this meal. No,
not for this country, because as it points out in the article, 2 of 5 people, 40% of Americans are considered obese.
Yeah, but
we're the fattest country in the world.
Yeah, but Emmitt Smith was also considered obese when he was the star tailback of the Cowboys because he was 5'11" and 225. Okay, so I don't want to hear it. Besides,
you don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it.
Painfully true, but you don't want to hear it.
Hey, when that foul ball went into the stands, how obese did I look? Huh? Seriously.
Pretty obese. You had 4 good steps, David, but you didn't look any skinnier.
You can't move that quickly and be obese. I don't care what the height and weight measurements are. Okay? I was like a cat. I was like Felix Potvin in the Nets. Anyway. All right.
So Smash Burger is number 8. That's a chain I've never been to. I've never even seen. I know it's out there. I've seen the name recently, but I've never been or seen a Smash Burger. They're 8. Your favorite, your place, David, the place I most associate with you and fast food is number 7, Mickey D's. Thought it would be a lot higher on the list than number 7. Quiznos is number 6.
What? Quiznos is more unhealthy than McDonald's. Honestly, this is one of the 5 dumbest lists you've ever brought up on this show. I shouldn't say dumbest.
I'm hitting them right where it hurts, folks. And I'm okay. He's taking it all out on me here, and that's okay. I'm good with it. 21,000 is the text line. If you have any supportive messages for David during this list, please feel free to text them to me. I will pass them along.
It's a sub place. They toast their bread. Seriously? What is unhealthy about this? Honestly.
I would say the bread, the processed meat that they use, the preservatives that are in said processed meat, probably the sodium content, and the mayonnaise that they're pouring all over these subs. That's all.
I-
Number
You're-
5, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Do you have any problems with them being on the list, or do you think that
Well,
makes
I
sense?
think McDonald's is more unhealthy than KFC. I got to be honest, but okay.
Dairy Queen is number 4. And as a fan of a Blizzard, I understand where this is coming from, because anybody that's ever had their food at a Dairy Queen would have, and it's been probably 30 years since I've had Dairy Queen food. Even then, it was a eat and run type thing, if you know what I mean.
Well, considering I've never seen anybody buy anything other than ice cream at a Dairy Queen, I can't even comment on how unhealthy the food is. But I will say, if you're buying your food, your dinner at an ice cream place, okay, it's probably not a good choice.
Taco Bell, number 3 on the list.
Well, I'm
That's
waiting
probably to this day is my favorite. I mean, if you forced me, it would either be Chick-fil-A or Taco Bell. If you said, Mark, you have to go to a fast food place now and eat, the odds are I'd run for the border.
I don't consider it more unhealthy than Mickey D's, though. I'm curious to see these last two. Like, you mean to tell me Quiznos is the only sub shop then on this list?
It is the only sub shop on this list.
Hold on. You mean Taco Bell's on this list, but Jack in the Box is not?
Jack in the Box is not on the list.
Give me a break. Come on. And I love Jack in the Box.
Sonic is number 2. And just based on their commercials and the things they like to serve, I think that's accurate.
I like their chili dogs. Not gonna lie.
And those aren't something that most people would consider healthy. I love a chili dog, but from a health standpoint, is there anything probably worse for you than a hot dog? I mean, we don't want to know what's in it, and we still eat them anyhow.
See, this is where beauty is in the eye of the beholder, because, see, I can agree with you that something is not healthy, but I don't necessarily think of it as unhealthy, if you know what I mean. I just think of it as like necessary sustenance to get through the day. But okay, I get it. Sonic, the shakes and the ice
The
cream.
ices full of, full
Yeah,
of
I
sugar,
get it.
and
It's
I mean,
the sugar.
they want to
Right.
put chili on every burger. I mean, their commercials make your arteries clog, let alone if you eat it, what happens to you.
Okay, for the record, and I love this place that I'm about to mention. So McDonald's is on the list, but Burger King's not?
Burger King is not on the list. The number 1 most unhealthy fast food restaurant, according to World Atlas, this is going to hurt, David, is Wendy's.
Oh, please. This World Atlas is a joke. Go out of business. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? A, they serve salads. B, have you had their chili? Seriously. Okay? Talk to me about unhealthy. Give me a break. Have you had the Frosty? Seriously. Come on. Wendy's shouldn't even be in the top 10. This is embarrassing, this list. Embarrassing.
Yeah, Wendy's, David, what they say about Wendy's here, just for the record, and I don't think you've ever had one, but maybe you have, the triple Baconator with the large fries and medium Frosties is 2,160 calories.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, everybody's got one of those. Okay, don't order it. Okay? But seriously, you can go to Wendy's. You can have a salad, you can have chili, and you can have a Frosty. Are you serious? You're telling me that's bad for you? Bad for you. Come on. Okay?
I certainly wouldn't say the Frosty is good for you.
Well, come on, it's ice cream or fake ice cream. I mean,
There you
please.
go.
But the double. What's wrong with a double?
What's wrong with a double?
Yeah, no. We're talking fast food here. We're talking going in, you're getting a burger. Okay?
Well, David, let's start with this premise if you can handle it. All fast food places are unhealthy.
Well,
They are ranked
yes.
which are the most unhealthy of all of them.
But first off, Chick-fil-A 10th most unhealthy. Seriously? What? The fries have a little bit too much salt and a few too many calories for you? Suck it up, Buttercup. Give me
They
a break.
fry everything. Yeah, I know there's
Yes.
a grilled this and a grilled that. But even there's, I'm getting a salad. What are you getting on it? Fried chicken. Oh, well, that's good for you. How about an extra ranch while you're at it?
Tell me a place besides Burger King that doesn't fry everything. I mean, come on now. It's fast food. We've made the decision. We're not going here for our health.
And I think that's maybe, David, what they are trying to tell you is that maybe, just maybe, once in a while you want to stay away from the fast food place.
Well, you do whatever the hell you want. Okay? I mean, no offense, we're choosing affordability and convenience. I mean, that's what we're choosing. We know what we're doing. We're not that stupid. We know when we're at Popeyes, okay, that, this is probably not going to pass the health code. It's probably a little too greasy, a little too fried. I'm guessing our sugar's going to be a little spiked coming out of the joint. Don't know what to tell you. I'm going. It's good.
So those are the 10 most unhealthy fast food places as determined by World Atlas. It has not been supported by one David Moulton.
Absolute garbage. Honestly, one of the worst lists you've ever brought up in the nearly 20 years we've been doing this.
Your reaction coming on the other side, 21,000 is the text line. Almost worthy of putting another poll question up. Whose side are you on the 10 most unhealthy fast food restaurants, Miller's or Moulton's? I have no idea who would win that one. All I know is that if I won, David may not show up for the show tomorrow.
Wendy's is more unhealthy than McDonald's, and Burger King doesn't make the list. Okay. All right. Got it. Yep. And I love Burger King. And I don't care how unhealthy it is. I love it.
You
love
probably
it.
should go more. It's not a top 10 unhealthy place.
I'm going to now. I am. I'm going to tell my wife, hey, can't get on me for going to Burger King. All right. It's healthy. It's healthier than Chick-fil-A. That's according to World Atlas and the 38 people they polled.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-7. Sleep safe and sound.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I have never been to the cookout. I don't have Peacock, and I have not. DC.
This shirt is of the Rakuten Monkeys of the Taiwanese Baseball League. one of the listeners of the show sent it to me. I think Mark got a shirt also.
I did. My mom loves monkeys, so I gave it to my mom. Thought that was a great shirt for her to stroll around the house in.
So the Rakuten Monkeys of the Taiwanese Baseball
Yes.
League.
Yes. Probably the most text we've ever had on one segment in the history of the show.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Yeah, I'm still speechless from that last segment. I got to be honest with you. I guess the name of the show is Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We have a daily poll question. At least we're supposed to. Today we actually got it done, and we got it done early. First-year NFL head coaches, which one's going to win the most games? And Brian Schottenheimer of the Cowboys, Ben Johnson of the Bears, Liam Cohen of the Jags. We threw Aaron Glenn of the Jets on the list instead of Kellen Moore of the Saints because we think the Saints are on the clock. We didn't think anybody would vote for Kellen Moore and the Saints, and apparently, 3-4 people have voted for Aaron Glenn and the Jets. So, but I don't know. I had a lot of thoughts that were all, together, written some down. And then my co-host, who I'm very fond of, I would take a bullet for my co-host. Okay. I am very fond of him and his family. There's not much I wouldn't do for him. But if he finds another list this stupid again, then I'm calling in with like the blue flu or I'm taking days off. You got to be kidding me.
This was published in the USA Today.
So
for
what?
the record.
So what?
This is, I didn't go find some obscure list somewhere. This is from a national publication. The USA Today printed said list.
Well, once again, Gannett's not what they used to be. Okay. And I got paid by Gannett for a long time. I can say that. Okay. And that's not being bitter.
Is anybody else listening to the pure disgust in David's voice right now?
Little Caesars was on the list. Okay. First off, honestly, how can pizza be one of the most unhealthy fast food places?
Already, pepperoni pizza has 2,140 calories.
Yes, that's why we're purchasing it.
They have a bacon-wrapped deep dish.
Yeah,
crazy bread. I love crazy bread. It's not healthy, David.
There are no fast food places that are healthy. I love Jersey Mike's. I'm sure probably something wrong with them. I don't know. The bread, too many calories. They've got 2 sandwiches with bacon on them. If you get it Mike's way, I don't know. Maybe the oil and vinegar is not good for you. Please, enough. It's real simple. If you go someplace that does not have real silverware, it's not healthy for you. Period. End of sentence. They're all on the list. Okay? If there's not a cloth napkin, okay, and a real piece of silverware, there's no shot of being, quote, healthy. None. Napkins in a dispenser. No shot. If they just put the roll of paper towels on your table and say, knock yourself out. Delicious. Awesome. Probably not healthy. Okay, enough. Life sucks. It's hard. Okay, now we have to eat healthy too? Seriously. My father was a drunk and smoked 2 to 3 packs of cigarettes a day. Lived to be 73 years old. Would have lived longer if they didn't do an unnecessary surgery on him. 73. That's a year shy of the average guy's lifespan. He was a drunk for 50 years. He smoked camels for 50 years. Okay, this just in. You can live a long time eating badly.
If you think 73 is a long time, by chance, I don't. I don't. But again, I hope that the joy in my voice right now from the disgust in his voice is equaling out this show in some way, shape, or form, and that you're enjoying it. And based on the text, you are. 21,000 is our text line. If you haven't texted the show in a while, text the keyword Miller and then text what you would like. This person just simply said, "You go, David." Next texter, "I've lost nearly 100 pounds staying away from these places. Where do I find the list?" Someone just saying KFC is filthy. "This segment was amazing. I had no issue with the list until Wendy's. Embarrassing."
You were okay with Little Caesars being one of the 10 top 10 most unhealthy places. It's pizza. Seriously. I don't care if they put bacon on it. You got to be kidding me.
By the way, had meatballs on my pizza the other day. Was a little bummed out because they chopped them in chunks. I prefer the meatball to be sliced like pepperoni in a big circle when it's on my plate, just for what it's worth.
So you want it to look like pepperoni or sliced like,
Like an Italian, sometimes Italian sausage, they'll do it that way as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because it's funny. I've never seen, well, I shouldn't say never, but most times I've seen like meatball on a pizza, they don't slice it. They kind of, the way you would make meatballs, kind of put it in your hand and what have you. And they're just kind of not necessarily round, but they just, take a pinch and they put like 800 pinches on it.
Yeah, this was cut and chunked and it was fine. I prefer it a little differently.
How unhealthy did you think you were being?
Incredibly unhealthy. I had pizza. I know it's terrible for me, David. Terrible.
Top 10 terrible?
Not as bad as fast food.
Thank you. It shouldn't be on the list.
But I think where they're going with Little Caesars are some of the other offerings they have, and I don't think that their ingredients are quite up to par with other pizza places. That's all. Someone says Zaxby's should be on the list. Someone just saying, "Don't shoot the messenger, David." No, he can shoot the messenger. That's okay. I'm fine.
No, I am shooting the messenger. Okay? I mean, please. First off, Wendy's unhealthier than McDonald's? Come on now. And once again, love both places. Okay? Have said when I'm on death row, I'm getting a number 2 from McDonald's supersized. Okay, although as of today, snack wraps are back. I may just order 14 of them, and that may be my last meal.
Now, the fact that White Castle didn't make the list is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the key components that I read that you've completely ignored is when you're doing what's supposed to be your daily calorie intake in one meal. And when you compare just Wendy's to McDonald's, 2 of the biggest fast food chains on the planet, I don't think McDonald's has anything as unhealthy as the triple Baconator. I really don't.
No, they don't.
And that's part of the reason that Wendy's was ahead of McDonald's on the list.
So you're going to take one item on their menu, and that's how you're going to rank each place? Come on. That's absurd. And once again, I'll say it with great affection. I would love to be their sponsor, okay? But Burger King's not on the list. Come on. And I love Burger King. But come on. I know exactly what I'm getting when I go.
This texter simply says, "Good for you, David. That double cheeseburger from Burger King just makes me happy."
Yes, in fact, I get 2.
This person says, We don't want to admit it, but an entire chicken tender pub sub is totally unhealthy. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it is.
And as is being pointed out in the Twitch chat room, I'm not upset with the information. I'm upset with the rankings.
He's also upset with his co-host for bringing up the rankings. Let's be brutally honest here. He is lashing out against me, and I am fine with it. I'm actually enjoying it.
Remember, text the show 21,000 healthy. That's 21,000 healthy. Unbelievable.
Someone asking for your top 5 favorite fast food joints, David. So if you want to come together with your own list, I'd love to have it.
Wow. White Castle would be number 1.
White Castle would be number 1?
Yep.
Would Mickey D's be number 2?
No, believe it or not, it probably wouldn't even make the top 5. If we're saying
wow.
best, okay.
No, your favorite. Not
my
best,
favorite.
Your
No.
favorite.
Hey, just
If you
because
said best and you're going to put White Castle first, you're crazy. That's crap. The food's awful.
That's why I was clarifying. Okay, was it best or my favorite? That's all. White Castle's my number 1. It is. All right. I mean, if I just need a snack, like literally, I just need something to tie me over for an hour and a half tops. 10 cheeseburgers and an onion ring. And that'll probably carry me over for the next 60 to 90 minutes until I eat. But,
How quickly are you going to get fast food after this show now? What have I done to you for the rest of the day?
Well,
you're going to try to prove this list wrong. There's part of me that thinks you're going to get the list from me and go to every one of the 10 places you can go to today.
I think between now and Sunday night, I'm going to do my own R&D. I do. I think I'm going to hit everything within 5 miles of me. And there's a lot within 5 miles of me. Okay. I mean, my wife picked out this place because she liked the view. Okay. We've got a view of some water. Huh. Okay. That's nice. I love this location because I'm within 3 miles of 37 fast food places. So this is prime real estate as far as I'm concerned.
So we'll try to ease David down here over the next couple of hours. We've got a baseball interview coming. That'll make him happy because he can talk about a trade deadline.
It will.
That'll bring him back. So between now and then, I might need your help via the text line, youtube.com/Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, of giving David some positive enlightenment about his love of fast food.
How is Culver's not on the list? Okay. And don't get me wrong. Okay. Culver's is good. But I mean, every single thing. I mean, they do their ads and talk about how much butter they put on everything. Okay. Come here. Okay. We're into taste. We're into butter. Okay. Not like those other places. Okay. Come here. Your cholesterol will go up a minimum of 20 points in less than an hour.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeister, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
This best of show's just coming along. I'm going to run those two segments back to back.
My mother just sent me a text.
Yeah?
Never been prouder of you. Thank you, Mom. Well, that's the other thing, Skip. I was thinking about it here. I mean, Dunkin'. How could Dunkin' not be on the list then? There's nothing they serve is good for you. Nothing. Like most places with a drive-through.
David, most places, period, are unhealthy. Restaurants aren't healthy. Restaurants are unbelievably unhealthy. They use lots of just better ingredients. But come on, I mean, unless you're going to get sashimi from a really good sushi place, I don't think there's a lot of healthy options out there.
Sonny,
That's part of going out to eat.
Crystal sucks. Crystal's a poor man's White Castle. Okay, and they toast the buns too, which don't
I
work.
like a toasted bun, particularly on a hot dog. The Montreal version of a dog, toasted bun, mustard, pickles, onions. Spectacular.
Virtue, I was not playing the mom on his card, on his side card. I was just mentioning mom is proud. So she's in agreement. She raised me after all. Yeah. I don't know, Robes. I'm a pretty big mama's boy. I do not like Crystal. I've had to, hit him on the road driving in the South, but
I had it once, long time ago. I mean, when I first moved to Atlanta, and I had it late night, and I thought it was awful late night. Like, I think that's gross. Like, I can't eat that drunk. It's that bad.
oh man.
I would agree. Hardee's had a great breakfast biscuit. That was probably, when I was doing fast food, I would have argued it was the best breakfast.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. JP Hornstra covers Major League Baseball for a living. He'll join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. You guys are taking a liking to the poll question. The first-time NFL head coach who's going to win the most games this year. The four choices we gave you: Ben Johnson with the Bears, Brian Schottenheimer with the Cowboys, Liam Cohn with the Jags, Aaron Glenn with the Jets. Most of you don't think it's going to be Glenn. That's fine. But the other three with a nice, healthy percentage within like 10 points of one another, the three are. So that's good. I voted for Ben Johnson because I think the Bears will win 8. And I don't think any of those teams will have a winning season.
I think the Cowboys will.
Huh.
I think the Cowboys, and I got to dig more into the schedules, and I've made my outlandish prediction on the Bucks, but I think the Cowboys might be a playoff team this year.
Wow.
As one of we have teams every year who obviously made the playoffs a year ago that don't, and teams that didn't that will. I liked the Cowboys draft. I like the fact that Pickens is there, that there's 2 weapons. Dak's back. They're going to have a little easier schedule. I think that they could I don't think that they're going to win a playoff game, but I think they could make the playoffs.
Interesting. So, yeah, and I think the NFC East teams all have harder schedules this year in terms of who their crossovers are. But I know you can make the case easier schedule in comparison to some of the teams they'll be fighting for a playoff spot for, because they will have a third-place schedule this year. So, okay. So there you have it. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Hey, since you threw out your list, and who knows, maybe you were going to make this the bad next hour and the good, bad, and ugly, and I hate stealing material from you, but was Livy Dunn going to be the bad?
No. I did see the story, though.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. I don't know what I'm more shocked and appalled about. That list that you brought up, or... So this just in, Livy Dunn's done pretty well for herself.
Yes, she has.
How well has she done for herself? Well, there was an apartment available on the Upper West Side in New York City. That's about as ritzy as you can find in Manhattan, Upper West Side. And apparently it's where Babe Ruth lived for 20 years when he was with the Yankees and after his career was over even. So it's a somewhat noteworthy apartment. And I guess the apartment building has no problem telling you that the Babe lived here. Kind of like those places in the Northeast that let you know George Washington slept here. So they have no problem.
There's even a plaque inside the building that says Babe Ruth used to live here. Yes.
Right. So they're okay with attention, or at least we thought. So Livy Dunn was paying cash for a $1.6 million apartment. Cash. She was told, deal's done. So, Livy Dunn. I mean, this just in, she posts things on social media. So she is on the beach and she takes a selfie, sticks her right arm out, holds the camera up above her head. She's looking at the camera, and it's her on the beach, and she's in a bikini, but you don't see a lot of her actually. And it's a nice day. Blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. First semester grad school done. House hunting at the beach. Bought an NYC apartment and walking to get a pina colada. Life is sweet like cinnamon. That's fairly harmless, right?
Yes.
Life's going well for her, and she's,
Yes.
letting us know.
In fact, she thought so much of that she was going to, this apartment. She went and hired an interior designer to decorate the place. I mean, she thought, from her real estate agent, she thought it was done. Little trick for you. Until you close, it ain't done.
So apparently, the building has a board, one of those co-op boards. Somebody was made aware of this post. Once again, all it said, comma, bought an NYC apartment, comma, doesn't say where, doesn't say whose. That's all. Just bought an apartment. They nixed the sale. They've been having trouble selling this apartment. I mean, it's been on the market for at least 4 months. Oh, and Mark, you do real estate part-time. An all-cash offer of 1.6. And she posted, hey, I bought an apartment. And that's too much publicity? And they nixed the sale? I want to take over this apartment building.
David, obviously it wasn't the seller that nixed the sale. The seller was all for it. It was the co-op board that had to approve it. And anytime you buy a house where there is an HOA, there is an application process. People in Florida know very well about which I speak. You should know very well about which I speak, because now you're in a condo and there's an HOA. And you've already had your problems with the HOA. And if you would have had these same problems before, let's just say you rented that place for a year before you bought it, and you would have pulled some of the crap that you pulled after you bought it, because you've had a handful of disagreements with board members there already. They wouldn't have let you buy it.
No, and they shouldn't have let us buy it in the first place. They should have done a character check and realized the unsavory people that they were letting into their neighborhood.
It's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying people like you and I sometimes tend to cause conflict. I will tell you a personal story. When the house that we live in now, there's an HOA, and they sent out some emails protesting the arena in Estero where I live. And most of you in Southwest Florida are aware it's now Hertz Arena. Hertz wanted to paint it yellow. Those are their colors. And the city, or the town of Estero, and the village of Estero, and the village idiots that run it went nuts, because you have to have things a certain color in this town, and yellow's not one of them. And I specifically remember the person who works for the management company sent out an email basically saying support the town. And I simply said, so you're telling me what my opinion should be about something? And went on for a long list of reasons of what that arena has done for this community and how it was there much before the neighborhood I live in. And I'll be damned, David, all of a sudden letters started showing up in my mailbox, and I had to pressure clean this, and I had to wash this, or I was going to get fined. And I know for a fact I was singled out because there were a handful of roofs that were a hell of a lot dirtier than mine. Now, I shut up and don't say anything and haven't had any problems. They don't like squeaky wheels in HOAs. I don't think they're right, but in New York City, they just didn't want her there. They didn't want the publicity. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. but I can't say I'm overly surprised by it.
So it's okay if we publicize this place. She didn't even publicize it. She didn't say where. She didn't say what she bought. I bought a New York City apartment. There's only thousands of them. I mean, Paul Skeens is going to come over and visit. You could probably, get signatures on some merchandise that's going to be worth a lot of money.
Well, and I mean, at some point, he'll be playing for one of the two New York teams anyhow, so they're just jumping the gun on where he's going to live.
Well, exactly. How could they not think forward like that? I mean, he was helping her decorate it. Hello? J.P. Hornstra, Major League Baseball's next.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Virtue, according to everything in the article, there was no other issue. Her realtor was shocked by it. If neighbors said it was the co-op board, period. They didn't want her there. I mean, that's according to the article. You may be right that there's something else there, but from what the article says, there's nothing else there. I really, and this, just what I'm reading, I know what you're saying, but it doesn't look that way. Literally, the neighbors are like, she shouldn't have posted that until she bought the damn thing. If you've been to New York, the one thing about New York is that stars feel comfortable there because they can be more unassuming. And they probably didn't want the attention because she's not into unassuming. JP is on. Livy posted a picture last week from the restaurant that we took Jake to when we were in Pittsburgh. And Jake's like, that's where we had dinner, right? Monterey Bay? I'm like, yeah, it sure is.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Vote in our poll question, which first-time NFL head coach this year is going to have the most wins. Ben Johnson of the Bears, Brian Schottenheimer of the Cowboys, Liam Cohen of the Jags, or Aaron Glenn of the Jets. Vote accordingly. It's a close vote between Schottenheimer and Johnson, and Cohen is within striking distance. JP Hornstra covers Major League Baseball for a living. He does so for Newsweek and The Big Lead. You can follow JP on X. It's JP Hornstra with 2 O's. HOORNSTRA. JP, it's David and Mark once again. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks.
All right. You're based in L.A., and it's a silly question because they still have the best record in the National League and second best in baseball. But it's World Series championship or bust for the Dodgers. And so when you look at everything that's gone wrong for them this year, if they get healthy, are they still the best team in baseball, or is that it?
It depends on which Dodger team you've watched this season. I think if you've watched the team that has lost 5 games in a row and hasn't really gotten the performances that it expected to from its superstars, maybe not. I wouldn't put that much faith in a 5-game sample, though. I would lean towards the team that had the best record in baseball prior to getting swept by the Astros and the Brewers. 6-game losing streak. My bad. We're up to 6 now. it's been a rough 6-game stretch. Not going to lie. Some former MVPs are not playing like former MVPs or even really cromulent major league hitters. So that's been tough to watch. But you mentioned the health, you mentioned the injuries, and the Dodgers got Tyler Glasnow back yesterday. He looked pretty good for the most part. And even though he wasn't really maybe as sharp as you would expect, he still produced a very good box score. Stat line, fastball velocity was where you would want it to be for Tyler Glasnow. And then I think when you see others like Blake Snell and Max Muncy come back, if and when that happens, I would bet that you'll see the same Dodger team that many were expecting to really dominate Major League Baseball when the season began.
When you look at the American League, the Houstons, the Detroits, Toronto Yankees, the playoff teams, is there a team that you think is a little over their skis? Like at this point, Detroit's obviously, I think it's the best record in baseball, but are they that good? Is there a team that you worry about that's leading in the American League right now that maybe isn't all they're cracked up to be?
I think when you look at what the Blue Jays have done recently on this recent stretch, it does seem a little bit, I don't want to say fluky, but I don't see them as a first place team. And the reason I say that, it's more based on just the fact that they've had, if you look at their underlying, some of the underlying metrics, right? It's not that they're getting outscored, but they're not outscoring opponents at a pace that would suggest that they can keep this up. That's usually a pretty reliable indicator for a full season. Now, I know some teams have excellent records in close and one-run games, and they just happen to lay a few eggs and get blown out here and there, and that does happen from time to time, but that's usually the exception to the rule. I think I'm a little bit surprised at how the Yankees talked about, cleaning up some of the fundamentals that doomed them in last year's World Series. And it seemed for a second like they had. But then you look at some of the mistakes they've made, maybe moving Jazz Chisholm back to a position he's more comfortable playing at second base, cleans up some of that. But I think still they're making some of the team-wide mistakes that would suggest to me that, even if they do catch the Blue Jays and win the American League East, I don't know that they're that much better than they were a year ago. And talk about injuries too. They're going to get Luis Heel back at some point. And I think a strong pitching staff, which they do have, can paper over some of those fundamental mistakes, but there's still a team that isn't, driving in runs with runners in scoring position in the way that you would expect. And I worry a little bit more about them than I think I did at the beginning of the year. But boy, I like Houston. I like Detroit. I think for the most part, what you see is what you get in the American League.
JP Hornstra, joining us to talk Major League Baseball once again here on Miller and Moulton to further his point about the Jays. Well, yes, they had a great June and early July, but their run differential is actually worse than that of Cincinnati and Texas. So, are they a little over their skis? Some people think that they are. All right, I was hoping for a great trade deadline, but that meant that all the teams that were just below 500 needed to not win. And this week, the Royals, the Guardians, and the Twins have yet to lose. The Reds went back over 500. This is killing me, JP, because that means these teams won't be sellers. Curious, in the next 3 weeks, of the 4 teams I just mentioned, which one should be sellers? Royals, Twins, Guardians, Reds.
Ooh, Royals, Twins, Guardians, Reds. Well, I would suggest that that's a tough one to answer, and I'll tell you why. I think those are all, mid to small market teams who owe their fans some hope, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't, from that standpoint, like to see any of them actually really try to sell. Just from the standpoint that, when you're a team that doesn't have just a championship window that's going to be open more years than not. You got to go for it when you have even a crack. So this might be an unpopular take for fans of teams outside of those markets, but I kind of like to see all of them go for it. If I'm being honest here, even if that just means getting into the playoffs as a wild card and seeing what you can do, why not give your fans that hope? Because we've seen, teams that are, in that 85 to 89 win range just grab a playoff spot and win the World Series recently. That happens sometimes. And so I would lean toward giving fans that hope. Now, having said all of that, which of those teams has a realistic chance of winning the World Series this year? I don't know. I still go back to the pitching staff that they have in Kansas City and the fact that they've got a young superstar in Bobby Witt Jr. and potentially another in Jack Caglione as a team that probably could be doing more damage than it has this season. Other than that, I don't know what Minnesota has. Byron Buxton is having a season that many fans have been hoping for from Byron Buxton. But that's not a team where it's like, okay, if XYZ come together, that's a team that could do damage in the playoffs. I don't know that they're that deep. I would probably say the same for Cincinnati. I would probably say the same for Cleveland. I'm not as excited about those teams' long-term fortunes. It's not like they're like one player away or anything. I think they need a little bit more help than that. But Kansas City, I would say, like, if they can acquire another bat to lengthen that lineup, that's a team that probably should buy. I'm not as jazzed about the other three. And so, it's more of a hope and a prayer, but I would give the fans that if I'm running any of those four teams.
All right. I think the Yankees have the most pressure on them to make a trade deadline deal. Take them out of the equation. Who would be next that you think has to make a move between now and the end of the month?
Let me go back to Toronto for a moment, because when I talk about giving fans hope, this is a team that actually does look like, I don't want to say like this could be the year, but this is the kind of year that I think fans in Toronto have been hoping for from the Blue Jays, really ever since they committed to this core group around Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette. And they actually might be one player away from being one of the better teams in the American League. Specifically, they really could use the top of the rotation arm. Now, in the same breath, we have to mention, like you said, this doesn't look like one of those trade deadlines where top of the rotation arm is going to change teams. Like, who are you counting on? It's not like 2021 when the Dodgers got Max Scherzer and there was this obvious team with top of the rotation arm that needed to make a good big trade, and the Dodgers got Max Scherzer, and it didn't work out for them. But the Max Scherzer that's pitching for the Blue Jays right now is the top of the rotation arm, and I don't know who they can go out and get, but that's a team that should make a trade to get better, to really maximize its chances this year. If I had to pick one, that's the team that needs to make a trade. Remember, too, that front office was under a ton of pressure coming into this season.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if just making the playoffs and getting bounced in the first round is going to satisfy anybody.
Heck, I think they were under a lot of pressure a month ago. So I agree with you. Hey, how big a deal is the commissioner coming out earlier this week and saying we're going to use ABS in the All-Star game? I mean, I know he wants to be using it next year, so it would kind of make sense. But this is their highest rated baseball game before the second round of the playoffs. This is going to get 6 million eyeballs here. And he's going to have computerized strike zone if a team wants to use it. That seems significant to me.
It is. I think it's not controversial to say that Rob Manfred wants to institute the ABS challenge system, and that it's probably going to come sooner than later. When I heard him say that, a couple things came to mind. One is that, like I said, this isn't very controversial. I kind of liked it, just as a fan of the game. I thought it wasn't very obtrusive. I thought the fact that we have the technology to do it, and that we're able to do it in a somewhat timely fashion. In other words, you can challenge the accuracy of balls and strike calls without adding too much time to the average pace of game, which has sped up recently, and I think everybody's pretty happy with that. The other was, well, what if nobody challenges any calls? Because, Major League Baseball has been without this in spring training, and now all of a sudden you're going to tell the guys, oh, by the way, you can do this again for one game only. Are they going to bother to do that? Are they going to remember, or are they going to be like, I don't want to have to remember that I can challenge balls and strikes now. I just want to play the way I've been playing for the last 3+ months, and I'm going to be playing for the next 3 months. You literally might not see a call get challenged. Maybe you do. I don't know. But maybe you don't. So I think in terms of a one-game impact, you might not see it. Fans might not see that much, but I also don't think just having it for one game is necessarily a bad or a controversial or even a surprising thing, given that I think we know Rob Manfred is a pretty big fan of the ABS challenge system.
Why, in your opinion, are the players so against it? As much as they complain about the strike calls, we had that Phillies game the other day where the ump just looked like he wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. Why are the players so against this system?
I would push back against that a little bit, and I say that only because I've had some conversations with people at the MLBPA level about how kind of controversial this might be among players. And the answer is not really. If you were to rank things that are, collectively bargained issues that are on the front of players' minds, it's, the potential for Major League Baseball to go to, war over a salary cap in the next labor negotiation round, and then it's a big drop off to anything
right.
That's like a competition issue. I think they want to be deliberate about it, really, more than they want to be combative about it in negotiations, is the impression that I got. And so I think they just want time, more than maybe one spring training, to see how this plays out. Because remember, too, in spring training, the guys who are going to be Major League Baseball players for the duration of their professional careers are taking a relatively small percentage of the at-bats. They're throwing a relatively small percentage of the innings. Minor leaguers are accustomed to this. Major leaguers are not. And so maybe I think for them, one spring training wasn't necessarily enough to where they can say, yeah, you know what, I'm confident with this, let's go forward. I think it was less like, hey, we don't like this, we're pushing back, and more like, hey, can we just have a little bit more time before we sign off on this? I don't think it's going to be a big issue once collective bargaining comes up again.
JP Hornstra covers baseball for Newsweek and the Big Lead. You can follow JP on X at JP Hornstra. That's with 2 O's. HOORNSTRA. JP, as always, thanks for your time. Safe travels to the All-Star game, and hopefully we can talk right around the deadline.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks for having me.
JP Hornstra, talk a little Major League Baseball here on Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Manfred's wanted to, threw that test balloon out on the salary cap.
Sure.
We'll see how the owners feel about that.
Sure.
And it's not the cap that the owners are going to complain about. It's the floor.
There you go.
It's always been the floor. The Yankees would love a cap as long as the Marlins and Rays actually have to spend money. Miller and Moulton. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health. Bonita Springs, and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yes, and I don't know if it matters to you, but
No,
radio show and I can't
I do not.
before 10 in the morning. I don't know if that's you guys care about that stuff or not. To call after 10 a.m. But you know, right, right. That's awesome. Thank you. Hey, you too. Take care.
Virtue, you are hung up on his batting average, and I have to be honest with you, that's insane in today's baseball. You keep pointing to he's hitting 280. Now, the playoff stuff I'll agree with you on, but you cannot bring batting average into the equation anymore. People who cover the sport don't even recognize that. It's not even something they look at anymore.
And I do expect to be charged because it's my second cancellation. No, you can. You can because it's the second time in 2 weeks, but we've lost power in our building and we've got kind of an emergency. So I will see you on Tuesday, but I can't make it today. All right, take care. Thanks. You got anything here?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. 3 weeks tonight, the Pro Football Hall of Fame game takes place. So for those of you who just desperately need to see helmets and shoulder pads, it's coming. 7 weeks today and tonight. The college football season kicks off in earnest. That Thursday heading into Labor Day weekend, we've got 16 games on the docket. A good early bird special, too, in Tampa between Boise State and South Florida. It's a big game for the Bulls because we were going through their schedule yesterday. What do they have after that? It's like
Florida and Miami.
Man.
They're starting 0-3. I'm telling you that right now. Boise's good. Boise's better than them. I don't care that it's hot and summertime and they're going to deal with 90-degree heat in Florida. They're better.
And we think this Bulls team will be pretty good. They got everybody, hell, they've been a young team for 2 years now. So this should be a young veteran team this year, and they got a talented quarterback, but they do have a tough schedule. They are expected to be a contender in the American, however. But that's 7 weeks from today and tonight, 49 days away. And 8 weeks tonight, the Eagles host the Cowboys. 56 days away from the NFL season getting underway.
By the way, you want to take the stab at what the spread is in the South Florida Boise game?
Boise,
you don't know already?
I don't. Boise by 5.
9.
Wow.
9. And the money line, it's plus 250 if you want to bet the money line on the Bulls.
Huh. I do think the early season heat and humidity will be a big edge, though, for South Florida. Boise's better, but come on now. I mean, they don't play in what they're going to play in. It's late August. I mean, you and I wouldn't even sit in the stands at that game. I mean, that's...
I had to tell you, Monday when we finished the show, I'd been gone for 9 days. I was in cooler climates. And when I came to the show Monday morning, it's obviously still dark out, so it's not oppressively hot.
Right.
When I walked out at about 10 after 10, finishing my stuff in here, and the sun and the humidity hit me, and my walk to the car's 11 steps. It's not like I'm going far. I walked out the back door of this building and went, oh, I'm home. Yeah. Uh-huh. And that's just a week away essentially from it. And you're talking about Boise coming down, dealing with the dry heat of Idaho in the summer, and then coming into this, they're going to get slapped in the face when they get off the plane, if you know what I mean.
Never mind potentially the 2.5-hour storm delay they could have trying to have a 5:30 start in late August.
It's an interesting start time, to say the least.
Well, you know why they're doing it. Because some 4-letter network's televising it before some 9 o'clock game somewhere. But Mm-mm. Hey, speaking of television, did you see Dan Patrick's little sit down with I don't know if it was a Barstool show but it was a podcast. It was, two guys who normally sit around and shoot the bull. And I didn't realize this about Dan. Now, I don't listen as much as you do. Okay. It's kind of been, something that's on in your car, and if you're running an errand right after the show, that's kind of been your go-to right after the show, errand show. But he was offered The Price is Right as Bob Barker was retiring.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about, because his name was rumored for Jeopardy at one point too, and he brought it up, but I don't ever remember The Price is Right being part of that conversation.
So that apparently was the late 90s. He turned it down. He said, I was still in the sports mode and I wasn't going to do game shows yet. Well, not much later, for whatever reason, he's changing his tune. And some guy who produces quite a few game shows called him up and said, hey, you'd be great for a game show. And he flies him in. And according to Dan, they watch 90 minutes of Japanese game shows. No talking. Dan's just sitting there watching Japanese game shows. And the guy gets done and he goes, man, aren't they great? Okay, now let's talk about your game show. And he mentioned the possibility of two. I forget what the one was, but the other one was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And he went through the concept of the show and everything. But as he's talking to Dan, his phone's ringing, and he says, Regis is all over me to give him a game show. I don't know what I'm going to give him, but I got to get Regis off my back. He wants a game show. So anyway, Dan, back to you. So Dan says few hours together, and they're talking, and he goes home and says to his wife, hey, they got this idea. Here's the concept. And she gets intrigued. She did not want him to take Price is Right, which I got to admit, I would have been so gone from Sports Center. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I understand. You and I, though, have often talked just in the broadcast world. Yeah, we've never talked about any other world in this aspect. You never want to be the guy who replaces the guy.
Right.
And I'm stunned at what a great job and career Drew Carey's had doing that show.
Agreed.
Agreed. Bob Barker is the game show host. I mean,
right.
That's it. That's where the list starts.
And so he turned it down, and obviously we know what happened. So Dan and his wife apparently are excited at the prospect of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. By the way, one other thing. He asked the folks at The Price is Right, how much does it pay? And they said, we'll tell you if you take the job.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
That's a little backwards in how the order goes in life, but
right.
Okay.
And then, and Dan said, I was inclined not to take it, but I did want to know what it paid, and they were not going to disclose that. And I guess it's their way of, they didn't want somebody just taking the gig for the money.
I mean, could you come back with how many commas and is the first number crooked? Or are there two numbers before the first comma? I mean, those would be the only things I'd want to know. Because I would think, I could be wrong, but I would think hosting The Price is Right is a high-paid gig.
Oh, I got to think it's a few million, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's, 25 years ago, I don't think it was 10 million, but I got to think it's $2-3 million bucks 25 years ago. But So obviously, Dan goes home and waits for a phone call from this guy. And 10 years later, the phone rings and it's his assistant. And Dan says, hey, get so-and-so to call me. So-and-so calls him. And he had completely forgotten about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And Dan's like, I'm still kind of miffed at you about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And he goes, oh, that thing? Get over it. So anyway, here's the game show I'm pitching you.
Wow. And I love Dan Patrick. I think he's funny. I think he's the best interviewer in our business. Game show? Don't know.
Don't either.
Don't know.
Don't know. Is he entertaining enough?
Right.
Will he play off the guests in the audience the way he plays off his little entourage he's got there?
Which he knows well and knows the soft spots of where you can hit and deliver. Much like if you missed any of the show, download both the second and third hours in which we talk about the 10 most unhealthy fast food restaurants. I was able to get to my co-host.
More than ever before. By the way, EB in our Twitch chat room says they love their game shows in Japan. My naval son raved about them when he was stationed there. Okay.
You know what? I still love game shows. I don't watch them very often, but quite often my mom lives at the golf course where I'm a member. I have a golf cart. I keep it at her house. It's the only way I can have the golf cart. So I always drive to my mom's when I go play golf. And a lot of the times I play golf right after noon, 12:30. So when I go to my mom's house, it's about an hour and 20 minutes before. And the Price is Right is always on. Mm-hmm. And particularly if I've got like a 1 o'clock tea time and I roll into her place about 11:45. I'm going there because she and I are going to watch the showcase and we're going to bid on the damn thing and see who wins. I think that comes from, being part of the generation when you missed school, the Price is Right was part of your morning. There were 3 channels, and at 11 a.m. you were watching Barker's Beauties as you played hooky from school by telling your mom you had too bad of a cold to go.
And I will say, it's kind of like watching old reruns of the Benny Hill show. There was an awful lot of skin that was being shown by the Barker's Beauties back in the day.
Yeah, Holly.
Sure, the redhead, right?
You're damn right.
Wow.
Don't say that like you didn't know. The redhead, right? Who's listening? Your wife, for crying out loud? Yeah, it was the redhead. Of course it was the redhead.
Just making sure. There was Diane
Janice and
okay,
Janet.
there was Janet. Okay,
Janice, something like that. But there was Holly.
Okay. All right. Anyway, they were scantily clad.
Amen, brother. Amen.
That's all. That's all. Apparently, one of them was
the show now. Now you got men bringing out some of the gifts. What the hell is that?
Apparently, one of them was canoodling with Bob for a long time. Okay. Yeah. Remember, it's just the 20th century. Things were just a little different.
I mean, at least they weren't ripping lung darts on the show. It wasn't that bad.
No.
Had to go to Matt's game about 10 years before you could see all that.
I was going to say, had to wait till 3:30 or the primetime version for the lung darts. That's right. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day went about 25 minutes away.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or NolanAgency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You just want the book, Michael. Now, I bought the pre-order, so I got some of the digital stuff, but you just want the book. I don't think you can get it at Walmart, Michael. I thought the only place you could get. Let me check. I thought it was Books A Million or Barnes and Noble, but I don't know where you can buy it on a newsstand. I thought it was exclusive at either Books A Million or Barnes and Noble, but I'm not positive on that.
Yeah, philsteele.com. You could go there. Make sure you spell steel correctly.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Hey, so we're having the first hiccup on this Caitlin Clark Express, aren't we? Is that fair to say or no?
Yeah. I mean, obviously she's dealt with a couple of injuries that have cost her to miss quite a few games, but when she's played in and around those injuries, she's not been very good.
Right. I mean, she was the leading vote getter in the All-Star team, and while her stats look good, her shooting percentage is down. She hasn't been as effective. And yeah, there's no doubt they play her differently than they're playing anyone else in the league. But
as well they should.
But this is like the first time that you can question her as a player, isn't it? I mean, her first 2 weeks in the WNBA, they were not good. She was kind of all over the place. And then week 3 last year, she started figuring it out, and she was terrific. And we were all yelling at the U.S. Olympic team like, you're not going to put her on it? Are you guys idiots? That's a joke, right? But, I mean,
right before the injury, she had a monster game where she just killed it. Then she went out with the leg injury, and I don't know if it's injury, if she's cold, if it's the way they're defending her, but she's not played well since coming back from the leg injury, and now she has the groin injury she just came back from yesterday. And her team looked.
She had that 3-game stretch. They went on the road, and she went 1 for 23 from beyond the arc over 3 games. And she was, as you would expect yesterday, she was rusty, 25 minutes. Coach is trying something different. Okay. Coach thinks part of the reason that she's getting banged up is she's the only ball handler. And so yesterday, the coach started another point guard, the point guard who came in when Caitlin was out hurt. And so she's got her off the ball a little bit, not the wear and tear of being the primary ball handler all the time and what have you, which I think is what Golden State does with Steph also. From time to time, they just kind of let somebody else do the point guard stuff. But, when it starts to be important, we all know who's going to have the ball in his hands. And I'm sure that'll be the same way with her. But I find this interesting. This is the first speed bump. I mean, this has been a hell of a 4-year run. I mean, even a week or so ago, Mark, I think you were on vacation and they unveiled her shoe. And it sold out in less than 10 minutes at $120 a pop.
I did see while I was gone, and I didn't know you were going here, or I would have looked it up. But there was a game, LA was playing someone, and a woman had a Caitlin Clark jersey on in the front row. And the Fever weren't in the game. It was LA versus somebody.
Right.
And one of the players from LA went over and basically gave the woman crap for wearing a Caitlin Clark shirt and brought her an LA t-shirt to put it over and said, do better next time. Are you effing kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? No, I mean, come on. David, I went to a Major League Baseball game a few weeks ago at Steinbrenner Field. There are people that were at that game between the Tigers and the Rays that were wearing Cardinal stuff, Orioles stuff, all kinds of stuff. You go to any baseball game anywhere, and you will find someone wearing their baseball jersey, and it's not one of the two teams playing. Now, I would never do that, but people go to the game, want to wear their jersey. Caitlin Clark's the most popular player in that league. Some woman has a Caitlin Clark jersey on, and a player from a team's going to give a fan who paid money crap for what they're wearing? Do better.
The player, by the way, who gave the grief to the fan was Kelsey Plum, who is probably one of the 10 most recognizable WNBA players also. She's an all-star in her own right. She got traded to LA this year. She was in Vegas before that, led them to titles. And
she could sit across from me right now, and I wouldn't know who she was, David.
Okay.
I'm being serious. I could recognize Caitlin Clark. I could recognize Angel Reese. Beyond that, I'm going to be hard-pressed to recognize anybody else in that league without a name and a number on their back.
But Plum also was one of those that, she got after it with Caitlin in a game right before Caitlin got hurt. And you could sense that Kelsey is one of those that's pretty annoyed at all the attention and focus that Caitlin is getting. I have to admit, I find this reaction within the league to her fascinating. Far more fascinating right now than I find the league. And the league's never been better. It just hasn't. They're playing basketball at a much higher level they've ever played it at before. There's so many more good players. Okay, I know most people won't check out the product and don't believe what I'm saying, but the product's never been better.
I know you're right. I know you're right. It's the women's game has never been better. For our listening audience, even in syndication, David, they don't watch the NBA. So I sure as hell don't think they're watching a lot of the WNBA. But I'm with you on the hate she gets. This would be all the PGA players hating Tiger.
Yes, totally. And there was some resentment of Tiger.
There was.
You go back to late 96 and in 97. I remember Azinger got grief from guys on tour because he loved the concept. He goes, I think the idea of the best player on tour being 21 years of age, he said, I find it amazing. He goes, I think this is awesome. And he got grief from a lot of his guys.
But put it this way, David. By the end of year 2 of Tiger on tour, that was all done.
Well, I think when he won the Masters by 12, it should have been, but yes.
But you know what I mean.
Yes.
I really get last year. And I was one sitting in a chair talking into a microphone saying, I'm curious how she's going to do playing against women. She was playing against young women where she was better than all of them. Well, there's not a lot of WNBA teams. The best of the best are in that league. And I was curious as to how she would do when they were going to defend her the way that I said that they would. And she exceeded my expectations. She did that to me, to all the players too, but the players still carry a ton of animosity towards her. When she's making their league more popular and making them more money, and their TV deal will be better because of her.
They're on chartered flights because of her. I don't know why that didn't register. If you've ever been on a chartered flight, the difference between grabbing the back 15 rows on Delta and sitting wherever you're sitting, okay, and being on a chartered flight. I mean, remember, wasn't it last 2 years ago? A team actually missed a game. They didn't get to the game on time.
David, I'm still stunned based on the revenue of that league and the fact that most teams are not making money, that they're chartering flights. It's expensive. The cost had to go up astronomically to do that for them.
But so I find this interesting. She's hit a speed bump for the first time in the last 4 years. See how she comes out of it. They're coming up on the All-Star break soon. The All-Star game's like a week from Saturday. By the way, how many people will watch that? A Saturday night on ABC.
I'll probably tune it in because I actually think, unlike the rest of the All-Star games out there, just because of her presence on the court, they may play a touch harder, David. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day one, and what's on tap? That's next.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
David, to show you how little I know about pop culture these days, the Modern Family star, Sophia, is it Vergara? How do you say her last name?
Vergara.
Vergara. Thank you. It's her birthday and she's banging Brady.
Right. And apparently Brady was the one who initiated it.
Yep. Had the seats moved so he could get next to her. How about the people on this little cruise?
Oh, I didn't hear that. Who else was on it?
Kate Hudson. It's like oh my. It's a yacht full of very rich and fun people. Well, I don't know how fun they are.
Kate Hudson's, at least the time she spends in the booth. And whenever we're in LA, she comes to the booth. Because her and Joe are very friendly. Because Joe and her brother are very tight.
Dakota Johnson, Kate Hudson. They're on a yacht. It's just a bunch of pretty people, David. Just a bunch of pretty people. And she's 53, by the way.
Vergara?
Yeah.
Well, he's 48. Or
46 or 48. I wasn't even doing it about the age difference. I'm just, all these people are saying how hot she is. She's 53 and she's just looks amazing.
She got divorced like 2 years ago because her husband wanted a family. And she's like, I've told you the whole time I ain't doing that. And so he's like, well, I don't have any kids of my own. So, and she's like, okay. Logic Man, I would go Selma Hayek, but that's just me. Who I think's approaching 60.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Poll question, which first-time NFL head coach will win the most games this year? The choices that we gave you were Brian Schottenheimer of the Cowboys, Liam Cohen of the Jags, Ben Johnson of the Bears, and Aaron Glenn of the Jets. Close vote.
Schottenheimer pulling away, 38%
Really?
of the vote. Ben Johnson getting 30% of the vote. Liam Cohen from the Jags, 24% of the vote. And Aaron Glenn, a little less than 8% of the vote. Go to Miller_Moulton, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, to vote.
You voted Shoddy because you think the Cowboys will seriously contend for the playoffs. I voted Ben Johnson because I think none of those teams will finish above 500 and the Bears will win 8.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was a day when, brought to you by Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, 427-3441. That's 239-427-3441 online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention Miller and Moulton and get 10% off. 1780 we start today.
Okay.
The French landed in Rhode Island with 7,000 troops to join the American Revolutionary War.
Telling you.
Without them, we're not the United States of America.
We're not.
And with them, we've been paying them back for 250 years.
Well, between the help in the revolution and the Statue of Liberty is a gift. Okay. I mean, that's two solids. Okay, now I think we're at the very least we're even. I think we could be slightly ahead since, okay,
You mean the 2 world wars?
and particularly the second one. Yes.
Yeah.
I think, we certainly don't owe them, and I think we're ahead. Okay, but I will say there are a lot of people in this country, though, that do not acknowledge, okay, they really were there for us.
Really there for us.
We
Because
needed them.
this just in, they hated England even more than we did.
Right.
Millard Fillmore sworn in as the President of the United States after Zachary Taylor died today in 1850. FDR visits Colombia, being the first sitting U.S. president to visit South America today in 1934. Somehow I went backwards in my order because I can't do numerical order because Bobby Jones won the U.S. Open today in 1926. 2 weeks earlier, he won the British. The Battle of Britain begins as the Nazis start bombing shipping convoys in the English Channel today in 1940. In his only Open Championship appearance, Ben Hogan wins by 4 at Carnoustie today in 1953.
Toughest course in the rotation, okay? And they're like, come on, you got to play. And so I think that was the year he didn't play the PGA because the two events were so close to one another. And by the time he got back and all the walking, and so I think he just played they refer to it as the British, don't they?
They do.
Thank you.
1964, the Beatles release A Hard Day's Night, their third studio album. 68, Major League Baseball announces that they will split into 2 divisions for 1969. Trevino wins his first of consecutive Opens today, winning at Royal Birkdale in 1971, the 100th British Open. Johnny Miller wins his only Open championship, 6 ahead of Seve and Jack today in 76 at Royal Birkdale.
It was his second and final major. Johnny just won the 2 Opens.
World News Tonight premieres on ABC today in 1978 with Max Robinson as the anchor. He was the first black anchor on a network newscast in the United States.
They tried like tri-anchors for a while. They had Peter Jennings in London. They had Frank Reynolds in D.C. and Max Robinson in Chicago. And eventually they settled on Reynolds and then Jennings.
The French foreign intelligence agents blow up the Greenpeace flagship Rainbow Warrior today in New Zealand to prevent it from interfering with nuclear tests in the South Pacific. Right. Yes.
I mean, listen, it's kind of like when you go and you take on that animal that we talk about and you go, David, what do you think the bison did? And I said, I think the bison went all bison. And that's kind of, the Greenpeace never thought that the country
They blew up the ship and killed somebody. Greenpeace. The French blew up the Greenpeace ship.
They warned them. And Greenpeace, didn't think they were serious. Thought they were the French. Whatever.
Also today in 85, Playboy publishes Madonna's nudes. That was a big deal in 85. They were taken before she was famous. They got their hands on them and published them. Yeltsin sworn into the first elected president of the Russian Federation today in 91. The U.S. women win the World Cup today in 99 on penalties.
That was
Brandy
Chastain and the famous SI cover.
Right. The sports bra, known around the world after that. Today in 2016, Andy Murray wins Wimbledon, his 3rd Grand Slam title. And in 2018, the Final Four boys and their coach are rescued from the cave in Thailand. Nikola Tesla, David Brinkley, Jake LaMotta, Arthur Ashe, and Ronnie James Dio would have all celebrated birthdays today. David, I saw Dio, I think it was on my 21st birthday, if I'm not mistaken, at the Palace of Auburn Hills. My buddy took me, his stepdad had a suite, and we all went and sat in the suite, the low level, like off 10 rows off the floor for Dio. It's the loudest concert I've ever been to. It was so loud and it shook me so much, and I was not drinking hard at the concert. Honest to goodness. When I got home from that concert, I puked. My ears were ringing so bad it caused me to throw up. Never been to a louder show. Tennis player Virginia Wade is 80. Arlo Guthrie is 78. Rick Emmett from the band Triumph is 72. Andre Dawson is 71. Roger Craig, 65. Urban Meyer, 61. Hockey player Adam Foote, Tom Brady's new girlfriend there, Sophie Vergara, is 53. And Jessica Simpson is 45. What did I miss, David?
I don't think you missed anything. Boy, I'm going to play some Triumph later today just because.
And you should. And you should. Start with Fight the Good Fight. Go right there to begin and let it rip. And then probably finish with Magic Power because it's a great, great rock song.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Today, for the good, we go to Flint, Michigan. You know, the one place where you'd never drink a glass of water out of the tap. Not so much. After the water crisis that began in 2014, they have finally replaced the lead water pipes in the city. It only took them 11 years to do so. Way to go, Flint. For the bad, we go to San Jose, where a San Jose woman is a little frustrated. You see, she's been getting hundreds of packages at her doorstep, and she has no idea why, or didn't have an idea why. They're all car seats, kids' car seats. They're covers for a Chinese online seller, and they somehow put her address down as the return address for these terrible car seat covers. And she's getting hundreds of them on her doorstep daily. Finally, the ugly, we go to Mason, Ohio, where surveillance video shows a boy playing the stuffed animal claw machine. He's not winning. And the hatch where the animals come out was big enough for him to crawl in. So he did. Onlookers tried to get him out of the machine and weren't able to do so. First responders were called. They moved the machine to a back room where they had to disassemble it, and the boy was able to get out without any injuries. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Thursday, July the 10th, the day that the snack wrap returns for one David Moulton.
Yes.
On Miller and Moulton.
Well, raised our daughter on that in Subway. Okay. Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Yep. Well, she turned out fine. She did. Whatever's wrong with her has nothing to do with what we fed her. I'll tell you that. Cocked myself up. It's not often a parent can tell a joke at their kid's expense without getting into specifics. I thought that was pretty funny, actually. Whatever's wrong with her has nothing to do with what we fed her. Ba-dum-bum. No?
I'm sure.
Okay. You know, just leaves it out there. It could be nothing wrong with her. Remember, I'm saying whatever's wrong with her.
Right.
You know, right. Just,
didn't get to play a video game and had to eat fast food for every meal of her life.
Right. I mean, obviously, you know, she's had a rough go of it. But, you know, persevere. Anyway, what do we have? 11 games today? 2 of them are the Mets and Orioles. Noon and 5 is when they're doing their double dip. Noon and 5. So the noon game, I think, is like MLB Network or something like that. Cubs Twins are also MLB Network in some places. Rays Red Sox tonight is MLB Network.
By the way, I got to admit, you ticked me off yesterday, and I didn't realize it until late at night.
Huh.
And I've never tried to watch a game there, but you're like, Yankees are on Amazon Prime. So I go to my TV, I put on Amazon Prime. It's not on Amazon Prime. It is if you live in the greater New York area, but those are not nationwide telecasts.
Oh.
I had to look that up yesterday. I spent a little time researching about Amazon Prime baseball games.
I didn't
And
realize
then
that.
I cursed you.
I'm sorry about that. I
It's
don't
all right.
know
I'll
why
cover it.
then some of the national sites like Score and ESPN would list it as being on Amazon Prime if people outside of the New York metropolitan area can't get it.
But they do the same thing with they list the cable a lot on Score. But yeah, Amazon Prime, those games are only available if you're in that market, essentially, which kind of sucks.
Marlins wrap up the series in Cincinnati at 5 o'clock. Rays, Red Sox. Red Sox red hot. They've won 6 in a row. They're tied with Seattle for the final playoff spot. Not that far behind the Rays. I think they're a game and a half behind the Rays. So that's an interesting series heading into the break.
Scottish Open going on right now. Wimbledon underway across the pond as well. So a little tennis and live golf for you this morning if you have the time.
Rory just teed off like 3 holes ago. So he's one of the last guys off the tee. So if you're going to tune in now, you're going to get a lot of Rory. Straka in a 3-way tie at 6 under. And we mentioned they're playing in Europe on the LPGA Tour, a major, the Evian. And Andrea Lee, an American, along with Irish woman Leona Maguire, part of a 3-way tie at 6 under in that. Apparently, it's going to be like beautiful weather all week. And so these courses that they're playing on, the major on the LPGA Tour and the Scottish Open, obviously, which is a links course, apparently there's going to not be a lot of elements. So these courses should get torn up then, shouldn't they?
You would think so. But, ironically, the first week of Wimbledon, they had beautiful weather. The second week, it became a little cooler and a little windier. So I'm all for the nice weather for the Scottish. Let's let it turn next week when it's the one we're all paying attention to.
The young American over at Wimbledon in the semis, Anisimova, took the first set from the top seed Sabalenka 6-4. They're on serve early in the second set.
Would be a monumental upset. It really would. Sabalenka was the only one of the 4 remaining that was a minus number when it comes to the betting odds for winning the women's championship at Wimbledon.
She's 23 years old, Anisimova, from Jersey, ranked 12th in the world. She'll be in the top 10 after Wimbledon. Just saying. So women's semis today, men's semis tomorrow.
There you have it. Miss any of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com. You can also go to Miller_Moulton on X to vote on our poll question of which first-year coach is going to win the most games. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Download anything you missed. We'll do it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Thanks for listening. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
This is Miller and Moulton